Rabbi Didy walks on the line here right now. Rabbi, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. I want to start with what you're on to talk about, and then I'd like to go a little political, if you don't mind. And the Clinton Jewish Community Center has just received something that's really quite incredible.
Yes, we received a brand new Torah, which is pretty much the Old Testament or the 5 books of Moses in the original traditional format, in the scroll format. And it's really exciting. It's actually a Torah. It's a sort of a refurbished Torah from a community in Brownsville, New York, which was a bustling Jewish community. And it has much symbolism to things that are relevant today in reference to the questions you're probably going to ask me regarding Charlottesville and stuff like that. And one of the main things is that we think about is, you may have seen images from the Charlottesville story last week, and the Jewish community actually in the synagogues, they were scared to come outside, and they had security, and the fact that they had to, in one synagogue, I believe, they took their Torahs and put them away, and for many people that was very reminiscent of the Nazi era, when Jews had to hide their Torahs, and Jews have almost like a special relationship with their Torahs, and every Jewish community has its story about its Torahs. And we lived in a Jewish community where they had Torahs that were rescued from Kristallnacht before the onset of the Holocaust. And so the Torah means a lot to Jews in general as a traditional thing, but it also means a lot in terms of the story, and it has gone along with us. And this story has been part of the American Jewish story with the Brownsville Jewish community, and so we are extremely grateful that we're going to be having this experience and being able to have a Torah in Clinton.
Now, does it stay there? Is this permanent?
So yeah, it's a long-term loan, which pretty much means it's ours to keep.
Nice,
and we'll be able to use it as we would like. So it's really
all right.
nice.
I'd like to switch gears and go where I want to go. Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I believe after the election we spoke with you, and I don't know if you came right out, but I had felt that you were someone who supported Donald Trump to be president of the United States.
No.
That is not true. Okay.
No.
But you did. I don't think you supported Hillary Clinton either. Is that correct?
Listen, I don't talk about politics. I'm not going to, on air, say who I supported or who I didn't. I'm not going to take a side, but you can assume what you would like.
Well, that's kind of what you told me the last time, and I assumed differently, but now I assume differently than I did the last time. So, okay, with that aside, tell me about the press conference. Did you see any of the press conference on Tuesday? And as someone who's Jewish, the Vice video that was put out, Vice News, which is a subsidiary of HBO, they were there. They were a part of that march. I don't want to say a part of it, but they were placed inside the march with permission of by the white supremacists. And the stuff that came out, it was really more targeting Jews more than it was targeting blacks. The stuff that we saw. How did that make you feel? How did it make your community feel? And then the president's handling of the situation. I want your take on all of it.
Okay, so I actually watched that Vice video too until it took me a few days to even want to sort of look into this, because I saw a lot of the stuff on Facebook, and to me the most important part of the story is what actually happened. It's not, the president's handling and all of that is very important. Don't get me wrong, but when people turn this into agendas against the president or not against the president, whether I like it or not, most important thing is what actually happened and that this exists. And as a Jew, you're 100% right. I mean, we're talking about, the racist South, or however you want to say it, and people assume that it's anti-black, which is awful. But then as a Jew, to hear them talking, and I don't know if you saw the other video that came out where this husband and wife are talking about, she said how, she basically wanted genocide, and she was talking to this, I think it was an African-American woman, and basically telling her, we want to get rid of all you Jews and blacks. And in the Vice video you're talking about, where they literally just every shout was somehow connected to Jews, and their biggest problem with Trump is that he let his daughter marry.
That was a terrible. Listening to that,
I mean, like,
was
that's
awful.
not the worst thing Trump's done. So it was mortifying to me, because we grew up learning, not just learning about the Holocaust, but the Holocaust is a very integral part of our upbringing, and in terms of, some of my teachers were Holocaust survivors, and that memory was always very, very clear to us. And I remember one of my teachers once saying, the Holocaust, theoretically, when you learn the history and you see that Germany was, quote unquote, for that time, the most progressive place. It wasn't the most backward place, it was the most progressive place. And when you put all of that together, he said, at the end of the day, this could happen anywhere, and it could happen here in Australia today, and it could happen in America, it could happen anywhere. And we all said, yeah, whatever. And I remember I couldn't sleep at night. It probably wasn't the best thing that he could tell a kid my age. But I think that you realize how true it is, because it doesn't, we think of people who think like us, and we say, oh, people who think like us would never think like this. But that's not who we're talking about. And the other scary part is that these people didn't all look like crazy hooligans. Some of them actually look like normal people, and like regular people, and they don't seem like you think of, and that's also very reminiscent of the Nazi era, where it was in Nazi Germany, where it was normal upper class people who were in on this. So I think the power of indoctrination, the power of convincing oneself of crazy ideas is terrifying, and we have to, just shows how vigilant we have to be for education. And normally I say, when people who are anti-Semites in general, or who have presumptions about Jews, when they meet a Jew, if they meet me, if they meet any Jew, they realize that all their things are not true. But these people seemed very set in their ideas. If they meet a Jew or if they meet a black, they think badly about them regardless.
I don't, based on, I don't know that you'd be able to see, they say, well, if they only knew someone who was Jewish, if they only knew someone who's African-American, or Hispanic, or whatever is not blonde hair, blue eyes. And I don't think so. I don't know that you could ever change the hearts and minds of some of these people. But then it hits close to home as well, Rabbi, in that we have a case just in nearby Little Falls where a company fired an employee for putting other people in an uncomfortable position with a swastika tattoo on his arm. And then the hateful things that he said on Facebook towards Jews and blacks. It exists. It's not just in the South. It exists, and it is scary.
Right. I have to be honest with you. I mean, I've lived up here 3 years. I've never had any issues per se, but I sometimes do wonder what people think of me. And I've met people who have said things not about Jews, but about others, that makes me wonder what they think about Jews. And that is scary. That's not something that's simple. In terms of whether they had a right to, I don't know the legalities of it. If someone worked for me and had a swastika, I would send them flying as quickly as possible. As a Jew, I won't feel safe if someone is in that position. And again, you saw in that Vice video, that guy is like, no, we're not violent, but we would totally kill if we needed to. We'll kill all these people. So if there's it's the same. An extremist of the Muslim faith, where it is religious based. You can't convince someone or change someone. Same as with these extremists. There's differences obviously as well, but these people think it's religious based, and you can't. There's no argument with these people.
Not to mention, I have to say, the president yesterday tweeted out something that has been debunked after the attack in Spain. That is completely not true, but he tweeted it out yesterday. This is after making a statement on Tuesday saying that he gets the facts before he makes a statement. But there is discrimination against Jews, blacks, Hispanics, discrimination against Muslims today. However, these people are saying, we whites, white Christians are the ones who really are being discriminated against. And I don't know what world they're living in, but I'm not sure that we're still the majority. White Christians are still the majority in the United States.
Right, and they're also not really a race or a specific ethnic group.
Right.
I will say, and that's why I find it so appropriate, that one of the beautiful things of the Torah scroll is that it represents the unity and the wholesome importance of every diverse creature, and that is why, according to our tradition, if a Torah scroll is missing one letter, it becomes completely invalid. The whole Torah is invalid. And you can ask, what do you mean? You have a Torah that's, it's missing one letter, just use it without it. But no, because our world is colorful and our world is made up of many different people and many different types and stripes and colors, and they're all God's creatures and they're all important. And if one is missing, we are all lacking. It's not that the world is less complete. Each of us individually is lacking something because we are missing that diversity. And so in this spirit, as we receive a gift of the Torah, which very much represents unity, represents the unity of the Jewish people within themselves and the diversity and wholesomeness of creation in general, we obviously didn't plan this, and you don't want to plan it around these events. But now that this, with Charlottesville and all of that in the back of our minds, we think of this at this time, and we hope that everyone realizes how important everybody is. Whites, blacks, and everyone in between.
All right, Rabbi Didy WIBX, we appreciate your time and your opinion on all of this, and thank you. We'll talk again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.